Welcome to the Pull the Chute podcast with Jeff and Jana. This is our weekly venture into the world of small to medium-sized businesses and the entrepreneurial spirit that drives success.
So our goal here is to help you grow and to be the best you can be, both in business and personally. To do that, we identify and we discuss topics that will hopefully help you as you work to build a successful business.
We also interview business owners and executives. It's our hope that you may be able to gain insight on ways to help you be a better leader and provide a better culture for your people.
Our mission here is to help you pull the chute once a week to work on your business instead of always working in your business.
So we hope you find these discussions insightful, helpful, and useful.
And thanks for your support. We hope you enjoy today's podcast.
Well, welcome everyone to the Pull the Chute podcast with Jeff and Jana. As always, we're so excited that you are here. Jana, how are you doing today?
I am good today. It's a little foggy here in Nashville, but I'm hanging. At least we have fall weather.
Yeah, we do. We do. And it is a Friday for us to record today. So if you're listening out there, we record throughout the week. So you never know when you're going to get us, but this happens to be a Friday. Jana, today we have a wonderful guest, Retha Nichole. We're excited. She's from Birmingham, Alabama, I believe, if I got that right, Retha?
That's where I am. I say that's where I am, but I have to say where I'm from because it matters. I'm from Texas.
Oh,
I'm not. I'm from California, but a lot of my relatives are from Texas.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, good. Well, welcome to the show. We're excited that you're here. What we like to do, Retha, is just have you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at today, and then we'll kind of launch from there and see how things go.
Okay. So Retha Nichole, I am a small business and life coach. How I got here. I got here from years ago. You were a trainer. You know, we didn't have coaching vernacular then. You were a trainer. I sold real estate for years and then started to train other realtors. And then from there, you became a mentor and then you mentored people and then it changed and now you coach people.
Yeah.
But it's all the same. It does go a little bit deeper in coaching for me because I do life. I'm certified in life and business. And I chose to do that because I know that no one else wants to tell you this, but I know that if your life is a mess, then your business probably is a mess too. And if your business is a mess, then your life is probably a mess too. And so I do a little bit of both. I am a wife and I have 3 boys. They are 20, 18, and 11. And that's very hard to say. I can't believe that I have a 20-year-old. Because I'm just 35. So
that's right. That. Exactly.
That's the way that math. That's girl math, Jeff.
That's
if you didn't know, that's what that is.
That is girl math. Amen.
And so that's how I got started in real estate. And then I opened other businesses and loved business and went through a very traumatic situation in my life, which led me to say that I believe that women who own businesses or executives, they carry an extra load of the business and the family. And so I feel like I'm called to them. So I have to say this, I say it publicly so that they don't leave me. I do have 4 men as clients. So I do. They are great guys. Their wives sent them, but they are great. But I predominantly coach women.
And do they come to you, Retha, like they say, I'm in kind of trauma or I'm in a challenging situation? I mean, what is the dynamic when they first contact you generally? Is it the business or the life or, like you said, both?
It's a little bit of both, right? Because they usually come saying, I just went through this hard thing and I can't seem to find my way back.
Okay.
But I need to get back, right? Because I have a business or I run a company or I am an executive. Or they come and say, I think I'm the problem in my business. I'm not disciplined enough, or I can't get systems and processes that will stick. So that's usually the main reason that they come. Sometimes people will come and say, they just heard that I could help them be better. And that's good too. But usually it is, I'm either in transition or I've come out of this major thing and I need to find my way back and I can't seem to do it. Or I think I'm the problem. I can't find the disciplines and processes that are needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I find that interesting when I'm the problem. I think that's that they can identify with that is
Yeah.
the first major hurdle, right? Because a lot of times,
Yeah.
they don't even want to face that.
Especially at the C-suite level. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times CEOs, as we know, they can be the problem. It's like they want to get into everything too much, but that's interesting. Do you have a certain protocol that you do, or is it just sort of case by case? Do you have any kind of collateral materials that you give them? Do you put them through interview process? How does that work, Retha, for our listeners?
So there is a consultation. I do a consultation. I want to see if we're a good fit. I'm a straight shooter.
Mhm.
So I can't, listen, no one knows me on this podcast, so you guys just buckle up. But
Yeah.
I can't, I'm not here to baby you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be soft. I'm not your soft place to land, because you came to me to be better and you came to me to get through something. And so sometimes that takes discomfort. And if I let you stay in comfort, then you don't need me because you're comfortable already.
Yeah.
So we go through a consultation where we talk, and I usually listen. I figure asking better questions is the way to really get to people to talk about themselves, to talk about what they think the problem is. You said it's really hard for executives or people to really be that self-aware. I don't know if they are, but I think what happens is they've heard something. So they heard me on a podcast, or I talk a lot on Instagram. And so they've heard something that has triggered something. So I don't know if they're totally self-aware yet when they come to me, but they've heard something and they want to dig deeper there.
Mhm.
So the consultation is where we start. And then I have a baseline. A contract with me for a minimum is 6 months. So I have a pretty good baseline of
Mhm.
where we'll go. But I do tailor that more towards you in the first 3 sessions while I'm learning about who you are, how you work, and your industry and things like that. And then after that, we pretty much go wherever it leads. But I have a good baseline because sometimes in the midst of coaching, right, in the midst of your 6 months, you may go through something. And so the baseline helps me to stay on track as I take you through what you're going through. So it's like, oh, this is a thing for you, but I'm going to give you this in homework because we didn't get to it because
Mhm.
we were talking about what's happening right now.
And how often do you meet with them in that 6-month period?
So we meet twice a month,
Okay.
like we're meeting today via Zoom. So we are twice a month, either on the first and third or the second and fourth, 45 minutes minimum to an hour. And so people will say, why do you say 45 minutes to an hour? Because life happens, business happens, and sometimes I want you to know that you got me for a minimum of 45.
Yeah.
But we can also go for 55.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
And
What do
so
you go ahead, Jeff?
I was just going to ask, so what do you find, and we're probably going to ask the same question,
Yes.
is probably the biggest challenge that you run
Yeah.
into with your clients?
The biggest challenge is discomfort. The biggest challenge is knowing that the things that you need to work on are not instant. We live in such a microwave society, right? We love a sitcom, tie it up with a bow in 30 minutes.
Mhm.
We were all fed over and over that it takes 30 days to form a habit or 21 days to form a habit. And so there's a lot of things in our world that are get rich quick, get fit fast, lose weight, and so when you meet with me, I'm fighting against all of that because that's not real life, right? In
Mhm.
order for something to be a habit, it has to first be a pattern. And so you got to work that pattern for a while before it becomes a habit. And then it can be a habit and you still not be disciplined in it. Listen, I have an 11-year-old that I'm still saying, did you brush your teeth? He's
Mhm.
11.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the 20-year-old, I don't say, did you brush your teeth? The 18-year-old, I don't say, did you brush your teeth? But so it'll click eventually,
Yeah.
but you got to want it. And so the biggest challenge is getting you to really want it. And you may go, well, no, they came to you. They certainly want it, right?
Mhm.
Oh, you can want it on paper. You can want it in your bank account, but do you want to do the work to get it? That's the difference. It takes work to be disciplined. It takes work to step out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
I love that you're saying that because not enough. I mean, you and I are reading out of the same book right now. We're in the same page because I always
Yes.
tell people, I go, look, this is a journey. This is not something
Yeah.
that's going to change overnight.
Right.
It's
Right.
Yeah.
something take time, and you got to give yourself time to change as well, right? Because we're doing, and I do a lot of what you do too. I mean, I come in kind of doing business and leadership coaching, but I end up doing personalized, their personal coach in the sense of, they're trying to get a life coach
Sure.
because they're trying to figure that out first.
Right.
And we spend half the time talking about life, and then the other half talking about the business. A lot of times
Mhm.
they're going through stuff, and the two are you are right, they are connected. But the fact that we have to keep reinforcing, and I love the fact that you use the analogy of the world today because it is so fast. It's everything's
It
happening
is.
so fast,
Oh yeah, everything
and
is.
we're trying to slow it down so that they can change, and they don't get why they're not changing fast enough at times, and they get frustrated. And so you got to kind of remind them of that too. So love that whole aspect that you're talking about there, because I totally agree with that. And I think it's an area that we as coaches need to be talking about more with our, just people in general, because they never
Yeah.
get it. It takes time. I call it muscle memory, right? You got to build
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. So, Retha, what give us three typical challenges that you find? When I say challenges, I mean like when your small business or mid-sized business owners come to you and say, "I need your help. I'm ready to sign the contract." What are you finding like in today's business climate are kind of your two or three top line issues that people are dealing with?
So one is uh, knowing when to hire, who to hire, what seats they need on the bus.
Oh my God, she used the seats on the bus.
I
Jen, that's
know,
her
we
favorite
use
thing,
that all the
Rita.
time.
We always say, put the butt in the right seat. That is so
Yeah.
cool you said that. I love it.
Yeah. Because sometimes you hire for one thing, but once they get in, they're showing you something totally different.
Mhm.
You got to know to move them to the right seat. And you got to be in you got to have your leadership hat on to know how to explain that to them, because they may not even know that this is a better skill set for you. This is what you're showing me. And because sometimes employees as well work out of comfort. I've
Mhm.
done this for so long. I've done it this way for so long. So seats on the bus is a big one, because especially if they came from just you and Jeff. And so you and Jeff were doing it all. And now you need 2 to 3 more people. Um, you got to also know when to sit down and delegate properly. So that
Yes.
would be number two, right?
Mhm.
Um, you hire people, you got to trust that you're putting the right people in the right seat on the bus. Well, when do you not trust that? When you worry so much about the little things, when it's now their job, when you won't delegate and you're still holding on to things. I say all the time, I said, hey, how does it feel doing that $20 an hour job as the CEO? You feel good about that?
Mhm.
Can I
Mhm.
can I pay you that 20 and then
Yeah,
you
right.
don't get the seat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it seems small just to say delegating is number two, but it on the grand scale, you know what I mean. It's that
Yes.
kind of thing. And then the third one, I'm going to hit the life side more so than the business side, and that is rest. And rest isn't sleep at night, and rest isn't vacation. But a lot of business owners start off doing things for themselves, and they like it, but they also want the flexibility of it. But
Mhm.
then they're not flexible because they're working all the time,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to rest. And so you get into that habit that you don't even know what rest looks like for you. and you're still in the weeds on vacation and you don't know how to slow down. And, one of the things I say all the time is this is the only life you get. Do you realize that? This is it. You're not an understudy for Sarah and she's going to come through the door and take over. This isn't, so you have to be able to do both. You need to learn how to rest well. And that's a daily thing. That's not monthly. That's not quarterly. What does rest look like? How many tabs are open on your brain? Do you know how to sit still? Do you know how to be quiet? Why do you need to know that? Well, because clarity comes from clear. You got to be clear to get the clarity, and that comes from good rest.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from trying to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the three.
Well, now when you talk about rest, let's dive a little deeper there. Do you recommend like a meditation or things of that nature as well? Or how do you help them figure out to do the rest? Because I know that, it took me a long time to learn how to shut my brain off at times. And I told the story recently that I went on vacation and I promised my wife I would not open my laptop. I wouldn't look at an email. And by the third day, I was having anxiety attacks because I'm so used to doing it, right? And then I got over it and I was fine then the rest of the week, but it was hard to learn to rest.
Yes.
So what's some of the advice that you give people?
So usually people go through the same thing that you go through, right? If I know I have a client who is, they don't want to say addicted to work, I'll say addicted to work. I'll say, okay, so you're semi-addicted to work. Before we get into rest, what does it look like? I try to change some of your habits. So we probably should take email off your phone. Like it's on your laptop. Let's take it off your phone. Let's see how you do with notifications. So let's take the things that bring you anxiety, let's lessen them first and get you used to that before we can deal with how do you rest. And then when we think about how do you rest, we think about what brings you joy. There's a difference between joy and happiness, and some people don't know that because they haven't experienced either one in years. So it's hard to get them to differentiate. But but it's helpful to know that, right? So happiness is fleeting, joy is sustaining. So you have to look at how that helps you. So, scrolling, that doesn't bring you joy. That doesn't rest your mind. And so when we're looking for how to rest, we're looking for things that rest your mind and your body. And so it's usually slower activities. It's usually non-consuming things, or consuming slow. So I had a client once that I said, I want you to eat soup for lunch for like a week because soup slows you down. And you can't eat that fast, and you can't eat soup while doing multiple things because it's hot and you may waste it. And so it's really about getting them to be slower first. And then when they're slower, what happens? You get clearer, and then you're able to see meditation does work for me. Yoga works for me. Pilates works for me. Reading a book, physically having a book in your hand works for me. So you get to see those things.
That's great.
Yeah,
and I think you're spot on with slowing them down because, and again, even I'm learning this even now because I have a tendency. We live in this fast-paced world where everything's just moving so fast. It really is hard to slow down. Like you said, scrolling, even though it's mindless almost, but it's not. Because you're scrolling through, right? And things are going by so fast and you're picking things up and it's great. So I love that you work with them on that. That's really amazing.
Yeah, I think we don't know the detriment that multitasking puts us in. Multitasking has become so second nature now that you are listening to a podcast while cooking, while helping a kid with homework, or you are listening to a podcast while driving, and then your GPS is also telling you where to go. You are listening to a book on Audible because Retha said reading was good. So I don't really have time to sit and read. So I'm going to listen to this fiction book, and that's helping. But I'm also talking to people in my house and I'm cooking. And it, the slowness helps you to realize how much you multitask, which helps you see that this is probably why I'm not restful. And it also is probably why I have so much anxiety. It's also why I feel like I'm so busy, but getting nothing done. Multitasking is the root to a lot of things that, because it's so second nature to us, we just don't realize it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting about it, because when I was writing my book, Jeff knows this, I studied a lot about the brain and brain activity and brain function and how it relates to communication. And what I found is our brain is actually not designed to multitask. The way that it's designed is to go from A to B to C to D and to finish a task and then close it out, put that in your subconscious, and then move on to the next task. And what's interesting is we have actually, unfortunately, trained our brain, because of all the stimulation going on visually with everything we look at, on devices, billboards, all that, audibly through radio and TV and all the ads and ads and ads, that it's kind of forced our brain to have to adapt to a lot of information coming in at the same time. But that's not really the way it's designed at all. So this is what's causing anxiety. This is what's causing overload. This is actually, believe it or not, is contributing to mental illness. A lot of these kind of diseases or new things that are occurring in the professional that didn't occur 50 years ago. So the brain is not really designed to be a multitasking, muscle at all. It's kind of interesting. I was fascinated.
It is.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by that. And you know what the real issue is? It's gone unchecked. Multitasking has gone unchecked for so long that if you said to someone, I bet a part of your problem is multitasking, they would be like, no, I don't even multitask a lot, right? So that's the first thing. And then they would say, no, that's not it. It's got to be something else, because we'd rather it be something bigger than slow down, do one thing at a time, than it be that, because I'm good at multitasking. What are you talking about?
That's so true. That's so true.
And we've gotten into this era, or whatever you want to call it, of when we sit and talk to people, half the time they're on their phone and they're having a conversation at the same time. It's like,
and I'm so against that. I can't tell you.
Can we just talk? But they're through their phone and they're probably seeing something and they're hearing it, but they're not really hearing what we're talking about. And I think it gives us a sense of almost like they don't care about us. It's, when we talk about leadership and things like that, it's like, no, you got to listen to what people are saying.
But Jeff, they would be so offended that you said that you can't care about me if you're also on your phone while talking to me. That would be highly offensive to them,
especially for the younger generation.
Yeah,
just because they're so attached to their phones, to their electronic devices. That's the information highway to them. That's all they've known.
Yeah.
Very challenging for them to put that down and have a face-to-face or do something that doesn't involve the phone. It's really fascinating. Yeah.
Well, Retha, we got to kind of wrap things up here, but this has been amazing. I love where this conversation went. Some amazing things. And thank you for what you do. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
So my website is HillRidgeCo.com. And then Instagram is my favorite. So I'm at Retha Nichole on Instagram. And if you're there, there's a link in bio with the links to everything. So either one.
Cool. Love it. And Retha, by the way, for our listeners, is Retha. Just in Nichole. But thank you again. We really appreciate what you're doing out there. It is so needed. We're all three of us are on the same page here. Right? I said we're even in the same sentence at times. I swear, like putting butts in the seats, right?
Seats on that bus.
So again, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it. To all our listeners out there, no problem. To our listeners out there, as always, we just appreciate your support. We're here for you as well. If you need any kind of leadership coaching, that would be my bellywick. And if you need communication coaching, that's Jana. Just reach out to us. You have our information. But thank you again for all the support that you give us. Until the next time, stay safe and be healthy.